But first, joining us now with reaction to the ongoing panic inside the Democratic Party is Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, you know, there's a lot at stake here. I mean, look at the borders, a disaster. Look at the economy. It's a disaster. I have more bad news. We have predictions, J.P. Morgan Chase, that they think a barrel of oil is going to $1.50. When you lose these top Democrats in the media, that is the canary in the coal mine. Now, if the media and prominent Democrats start sounding like me on Biden family corruption, you'll know the gig is up for Joe. Would you agree?
I would. I think Democrats are fleeing the ship like rats, and I think they're scared. They're looking at Joe Biden. And listen, they've got a structural problem. If you're a Democrat running for re-election in 2024, you can't run on their record. You can't run on jobs. You can't run on the economy. You certainly can't run on inflation. You can't run on crime. You can't run on immigration with the chaos at the southern border. You can't run on foreign policy with the largest land war in Europe since World War II. You can't run on standing with the military with the disgraceful surrender to the Taliban in Afghanistan. Every enemy of America has gotten stronger. Every enemy of America has been abandoned. And more than 2/3 of Americans recognize that Bidenomics, and by the way, how much does the White House regret naming it Bidenomics? Bidenomics has made life harder for working men and women. If you're a senior and you go buy food at the store, you pay your bills, you pay your rent, you pay your electricity, the cost of everything's gone up. It's harder and harder to make ends meet. Young people coming out of school who are discovering they can't pay their rent, they can't pay their car payment, and God forbid you try to buy a house and you pay interest rates that have doubled and tripled since Joe Biden was elected. And so, if you're a Democrat, you can't run on record. What do? You have to run on attacking Donald Trump. That's the only note they have is, yes, our guy's a train wreck, but we think the other guy's worse. And so, Sean, here's what I predict, and this is something I said last week on my podcast, Verdict with Ted Cruz. I think the odds are very significant that next summer at the Democrat National Convention, that the Democrat Party will jettison Joe Biden, will throw him off the ticket, and they will parachute in instead Michelle Obama to be their candidate. I think they're going to look to Michelle Obama as the savior to come in. And I think if that happens, that would be very, very dangerous. And every time I see a Democrat or one of their puppets in the press beginning to point out the problems with Joe Biden, every time that happens, the chances of that go up and up and up.
Do you see Michelle Obama wanting that?
You know, I don't know. I don't know Michelle very well. I've met her, but I don't know her well. But here's my thinking on this. If Joe Biden were out of the ticket, there'd be a bunch of Republicans running. You would have the top four, I think, would be Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, and Gavin Newsom. I think that'd be the top tier, and I think they'd fight like crazy. In an open primary, I actually think in that primary, I think Elizabeth Warren wins, because I think Elizabeth Warren is the closest to the id of the Democrat Party. It's where they are. You think about it in 2020, you had Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders splitting the crazy left-wing socialist moonbat lane of the Democrat Party. If Warren runs this time, she'll dominate that lane. Now, the problem is, if you're a Democrat who wants to win, that scares you. You look at Kamala Harris, and Kamala's numbers are worse than Joe Biden's. That scares you. And so I think as they're thinking about it, who you could put in, if the Democrats pick any of those four, you tick off the other three and risk alienating their supporters. I think Michelle Obama brings the Obama pedigree. She parachutes in with also the suit of armor of a first lady with high positives and relatively low negatives. And I think they can justify to everyone who gets snubbed, well, look, we went with Michelle Obama instead. I don't know if she wants it, but I do think it would be much more attractive to her to come in next summer and just campaign a couple of months to the general rather than having to spend 2 years campaigning vigorously on the ground.
Let me ask you, now that his cognitive decline seems to have significantly worsened, and that condition would be degenerative. You don't get better. You're only going to get worse. I mean, it was an awful week last week for him, and not a good week weekend as well. When you couple that with the horrific economy that we have. Now we see inflation roaring back. That's not good. Now we see record gas prices. Now we're going to $4 or $5 a gallon again. You look at the border chaos. It's never been this bad. Every year becomes a new record, and they can lie all they want and say the border's secure. It's not secure. The border's closed. It's not closed. They're just lying about it. High cost energy, horrible economy, horrible foreign policy, paying ransom now to Iran. Just one example. I mean, can anybody with that many strikes against them, if peace and prosperity drive all elections, can they win?
Well, they can't win on the traditional test. The standard way to run is to say, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And for virtually everyone in America, the answer to that is no. Unless you happen to be a Mexican drug boss, unless you happen to be a tech kingpin, the answer is no. Your life is not better under Joe Biden. And so if they can't run on their record, they have to run on scaremongering. They have to run on saying Donald Trump is the embodiment of evil, and it's all they can do. And look, you talk about mental decline. Listen, Joe Biden, in the last 2.5 years, they hide him in the basement every day. We sit around. So Senate Republicans, we have lunch together every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And we sit around at lunch and talk about the fact how none of us have spoken to Joe Biden since he became president. I haven't said a word to him since he became president. Now, you might say, okay, Cruz is a right-winger. Well, your and my friend Lindsey Graham hasn't spoken to Biden since he became president. And Joe and Lindsey traveled all over the world together. They've been buddies for 20 years. The White House keeps him in the basement because he is not up to talking with us. And I got to say, it is disconcerting. You know, Sean, it reminds me, I saw a bumper sticker this summer, and the bumper sticker said, Joe Biden is not an idiot. Joe Biden has dementia. The people who voted for him are the idiots. There's a lot of truth to that of, look, and it's one thing if you did it the first time. If you did it the first time where the campaign was, we're going to go back to yesteryear, to a kinder, gentler world where things will be fine. And some people found that attractive. Well, at this point, you've seen the train wreck. I can't tell you how many voters I've talked to, how many I've heard from who say, wow, I thought I didn't like where things were, but they are so much worse now. People who voted for Joe Biden who are regretting it as they're seeing how their life is worse. And so I think that's one of the reasons why more and more Democrats are getting nervous and wanting to jettison Biden altogether.
All right, Senator Cruz, thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.